storm that they're anticipating coming out of the hurricane.
Right, the tropical storm Harvey. So I can tell you that preparations are ongoing right now. We're coordinating with certainly other city departments, police department, PWE, street department, everything, Red Cross, to ensure that we have resources deployed and ready to go to the areas that we anticipate are prone to flooding. We have several of our resources already pre-deployed. We just got one high water vehicle added to the fleet. Councilmember Stardig was purchased one for her district, but it's going to be able to be deployed citywide. In addition to that, we have 5 others that the police department has that we can use to effect evacuations and rescues. The FBI has also committed some resources into the city, and again, preparations are ongoing. We're gonna try to deploy our resources to where we anticipate the need is going to be, but certainly it's dynamic, and we'll be able to adjust on the fly.
Chief, can you talk about the rescue boats and I mean how many you have, and you know if you're concerned at all that there's going to be a shortage or just that whole topic?
So the Houston Fire Department has about 11 rescue boats, and we have additional or evacuation boats, okay, and we have additional rescue boats. So it depends on the application. If it's just putting people in and walking them out in the boat, those are our evacuation boats. We have about 11 of those. The FBI also has certain resources that they'll be able to make available to us. And in addition to that, we have some rescue boats, okay, and PD has 3 as well. So as far as resources, we think we'll be able to at least deploy those and have enough to the areas that we anticipate will have a need. But mainly, the majority of the calls historically have been not necessarily the need for a boat, but need for a high water vehicle to get in and bring people out. And in that sense, we have about 7 vehicles, high water vehicles, and we have 10 dump trucks that are ready to go to be able to deploy. We're going to co-locate those dump trucks in fire stations to be able to deploy and move people out and evacuate them to a safe zone. From that safe zone, we're coordinating with Metro to evacuate them to a shelter.
Do you think 7 is enough? I mean, do you feel like that's enough? Or I guess that's what we have right now.
Well, that's what we have as far as high water vehicles. But like I said, we have the PWE has 10 dump trucks. They've already removed the tailgate, which makes it more accessible for people to climb into the back, so we can take them out of the hazard zone and into a safe zone. From there we'll transport them to a shelter. They also have an additional 75 trucks that they can make available. So if the need arises, we'll be able to deploy and put more units in service.
Oh no, I was just going to say, I know in the past some of the concerns have been over training in those high water rescue vehicles. I mean, should citizens be concerned about that? I know especially on the heels of the Memorial Day flood, I know there's some lawsuits.
Right.
What would you tell the public? Are there concerns? Are they prepared?
Right. What I would tell the public is that if they anticipate, if they're in an area that's prone to flooding, we anticipate 15 to 20 inches of rain over the weekend. That's going to cause some problems. If that materializes, that's going to cause some problems. If you're in an area that's prone to flooding, we encourage people to take some steps to try to assist us. If they remain on scene and we have to evacuate, that's a lot of demand for the resources that we have. So we depend and we expect the public to assist themselves and assist the public safety agencies that are here to do rescues to safely get through this process.
Chief, can you be a little bit more specific about what you expect of the public? Because obviously, folks are putting themselves in danger. That puts the first responders in danger too. Can you be a little bit more specific in terms of your instruction for people?
Right. So again, I just want to reiterate that if you're in an area that's prone to flooding, with the anticipated 15 to 20 inches of rain that we're going to get, if you can make plans to move out of those areas to an alternate location ahead of this storm, then that helps not only them, but it also prevents or keeps the first responders from putting themselves in danger to try to effect a rescue and evacuation at a later point. So we're asking the public again to do the responsible thing for themselves and in general. And if they're in an area that we know floods, if they can make alternate plans and move to an alternate location during this storm, we would advise that they do that.
Can you talk about drivers specifically, people who plan to get on the road?
Yes, if don't be on the roads if you don't need to, okay? And plan ahead. That puts firefighters, first responders, police officers, and everybody is out here trying to ensure public safety at greater risk when the public themselves puts themselves out and is driving around. There's a lot of low-lying areas. There's some areas that you can't anticipate as far as low-lying, and you can put yourself in a predicament that then would require a rescue.
What have you learned from the Memorial Day flood and the tax-day flood? Have you made any changes or adjustments as a result of that?
Well, I can tell you that as far as the fire department goes, we have, in addition to ensuring that our resources are operational and that we've provided some training on the operation of those boats, that we've deployed resources to anticipated areas. We have a plan to establish area commands to put resources and firefighters and trucks and so on and so forth out in areas where we anticipate that we may need them ahead of time. That's going to cut down on the response time, cut down on the travel time. So we're being proactive in this sense.
And most of those areas being, I'm just guessing, are
Greens Point, Meyerland, exactly. Yes, those areas that are prone to flooding and that we've had issues in the past. Those are the areas that are hot spots, so to speak.
So you're kind of staging out in those areas.
We will be. Mm-hmm.
And then and again, just to reiterate, I know that there was some concern about the high water rescue training. Is there an appropriate budget for that? Has training been done?
Mm-hmm. I can tell you that, we're dealing with decisions that were made in the past. At this point, our focus is to ensure that if we're going to provide a service, that we're providing our personnel the resources and the training that they need to efficiently work. We have dedicated some funds this fiscal year towards that program. But more resources are needed, and we'll be advocating for those during the next budget season for sure.
So is it $60,000 allocated this year?
Just for high water. But there's other needs. The Houston Fire Department does not only water rescues, but they do hazmat, they do confined space, they do everything. And so there's a lot of need to keep the skill set to where it should be.
So you think it's improving, but it's definitely not where you want it?
No. We have some work to do. Yes, and we have some investments to make, and certainly that's going to be a focus of this administration.
So as being the chair, what is the city doing to prepare for
the city's communicating with the county and regional and then beyond. We're prepared. The police chief, I was with him yesterday, the fire chief today. They're being proactive, putting resources in place. It's a sense of urgency. We understand the intensity of the storm that's coming towards us. As a native Houstonian, we all understand that you can't predict what's going to happen, so you have to be prepared for the worst.
And one of the things I was talking to the chief about is the high water rescues. Of course, flooding is anticipated to be tremendous across the area, very widespread. In the past, there's been concern that there hasn't been enough funding actually allocated specifically to training for that. Is there a goal to add more funding, to add more training in that regard?
Absolutely. I've actually been an advocate for that training, for that swift water training that's very specific to the fire department and to that particular group. There's a team that is actually trained for that, but they have to actually train in swift water. Simulating that is just not the same. So we've definitely put a lot of resources towards that. Also, I personally have just recently purchased with my service funds at the council district service funds, I purchased a high water rescue vehicle. It'll be at Station 5 as of today.
And is there enough training or enough funding? He's saying that the $60,000 that's allocated specifically for that swift water training isn't enough, that there needs to be more. Do you think there needs to be more?
I always think there needs to be more. In a perfect world, we would have everyone trained and every dollar allocated to public safety in my world. But the fact of the matter is there's so many demands on our budget that we have to make some hard decisions. So I'm asking and always advocating as the public safety chair that we spend those resources on training, on our firefighters and our police officers. So it's very important that everyone is trained. We don't want to further endanger our citizens, much less our first responders. We value their lives just as much as anyone else's, so we've got to stay on top of this.
Have you learned anything from the tax day flood or the Memorial Day flood that you've made some changes across the city?
As a council member, I have had the opportunity to have reports to my committee regarding what I would consider hotspots, flood-prone areas that we have to concentrate on and make sure that we have the resources in place, not just downtown or not just to be deployed across the city. They need to be in place because once the storm starts, it's too late. You can't get there. So we have to have them strategically placed across the entire city.
And that was something that you feel like was lacking in the Tax Day flood to some extent? Or?
I think that we could have done a better job. We can always do a better job on all of this.